My name is Stuart Zumfie. This is Wrightstown Elementary School adjacent to my property. I have the next door neighbor at a dead end at 206 Renwood Way in Wrightstown, PA. I moved in approximately 2000, about the same time that the new septic facility was built for the elementary school in Wrightstown, PA, at Wrightstown Elementary School. The septic system is about 1,000 feet northwest of my home. Um, there are several other fields which we're going to take a tour of around the school and show you the abandoned septic fields. Why they were abandoned, I have no idea, but they're spray irrigation fields, and they chose to put in I guess at the time it seemed like it was uh, experimentally designed, but it is a septic lagoon, literally a pond that they pump the septic and the sewage into. There are rules and regulations to running those ponds. From what I understand, the system currently for the school is the lagoon being run by the Department of Environmental Protection. Why it's being run by the Department of Environmental Protection is still unknown to me. But there's a lot of issues with the septic lagoon. Um, the issues being that the position of it being northwest of my home, it seems most of the prevailing winds seem to be southeastern, which would bring the wind directly in contact with my home. Adjacent to the lagoon is a neighbor's property, approximately 15 acres. It's an open field, and we will view that. The open field was rented out and used for agricultural purposes. In the last few years, they stopped doing that and just let the field grow in. So the field was rather high, producing an abundance of ragweed and different weeds and pollen. Pollen's the issue. Bacteria from any source thrives on pollen. Pollen is a protein. Bacteria eat protein. So it seems as if, to me, the pollen and the bacteria from the lagoon was being broadcast into the adjacent field, feeding off the pollen. And over the years, I've just been really not feeling well. In the last 5 years, I just been really sick and not being able to figure out what's wrong with me. Doctors had no idea what's wrong with me, and I kind of figured out about 4 or 5 years ago that maybe it wasn't that quite long, maybe 3 years ago, that the lagoon had aerators in it, which are essentially fountains like you would see in front of a casino or the Taj Mahal in Vegas, or in a big pond, ice skating pond, or it would actually cascade, kind of like a chocolate fountain. But these are spraying the water up in the air. This is done in order to aerate the pond and put oxygen in. Oxygen kills bacteria or something like that. Anyway, there is a playground adjacent to the lagoon on the school property. It looks to be about a football field away. So that would probably be about 1,000 yards there. So maybe I'm a little bit more than 1,000 yards, but not much. The playground that has kids, they can't run the fountains during the daytime when they're supposed to be run. They're supposed to be run during the daytime so that for one, the water can evaporate and the UV light can actually pop the bubbles in the fountain, the microspheres, and kill the bacteria. This is what I understand. Um, just removed all the vegetation away from the field. I don't remember paying that open. As you
Go.
can see, that there's obviously some issues or problems with the ground here in the septic facilities and the abandoned fields. I don't know why they were abandoned, but they are looking to expand the school. I don't know if this field, the pond they have, is large enough to do that, but it seems to be affecting the neighborhood. From what I understand, there are quite a few people that are sick in the neighborhood. I don't know definitely if that is the reason yet, but my findings are that that seems to be where the bacteria is coming from. It's just it's more than bacteria. Also, I mean, they have to be putting chemicals and things down the drain in the school. They're looking to enlarge the school, and it's going to be a bigger problem. In front of my house, again, the 15-acre field here. I don't know if that was viewed on camera. I think here it comes now. The 15-acre field in front of my home is actually just passed approval for a 28-stall indoor horse riding facility with outdoor pastures. The horizontal link between horses, which are warm-blooded animals, and humans is very distinct, and there's pathogens and microbes and all kinds of diseases and things that can be passed from the septic system to the horses. Horses then become hosts, carriers per se of those said bacteria, pathogens, diseases, the fungal problems, etc. I don't think it's a good idea that they're doing that. I hopefully that they work out the septic system so that no people in the future get sick, if that is the case and where this is coming from. I do believe that strongly that that is where the issue lied for me when I had gotten extremely sick and went septic. I had sepsis from something in the air. And that's the nearest, most logical thing. And being that the DEP was improperly, let's say, doing some improper maintenance programs to that pond, leads me to believe that that there's a lot of bacteria in the air because they're just blowing it up into the air at night and nothing is killing it. It doesn't get killed by chemicals that they add into it. It doesn't get killed by trapping it for long periods of time. They become immune to all that, and it's just a really bad situation with the hedgerow. All the animals that run up and down the hedgerow here. Inside of this hedgerow is a stream. When it rains heavy, it doesn't run if it's dry out, but if it rains heavy, there's a runoff stream in there that runs directly into my backyard. Across the Carousel Village's property over into the Grange Fair lands, and then down into the all the way down, I guess, towards into the Neshaminy Creek. It just seems like the perfect storm here that was created by a series of situations. All the homes in the development here have septic systems that some of them are new and some of them aren't. But I just don't think that lagoon is in an adequate area backed up to a residential neighborhood and any future horse riding facility. I hope it gets taken care of before they put the horse riding facility in, because that's just looking to add fuel to the fire. In the last 3-4 years, I have problems remembering time now because I've been so affected by what's happened to me here. Last 4 or 5 years, I've tried contacting and mentioning this to local township officials. I called the Board of Health many times before they finally came out here. They told me they took a look around and there was their problem, but to take a look around and not do any tests or anything like that is just kind of they were just telling me what I wanted to do, what they wanted to tell me. You would need to take tests and look at things under a microscope and over a period of days and different temperatures and humidities to actually get the true story of what's happening here. Nobody seems to want to do that, I guess because there's no funding to pay for it. But anyway, I moved on. I called the CDC. I wasn't a country, so of course, they couldn't help me there unless I became country, is what they told me. They told me to contact the local Board of Health, which I'd already done. So then I moved on and I contacted the local code officials again and explained this to them, that I wasn't being helped by the Board of Health. I then found out that I was recommended to call the DEP and found that the DEP was actually running the facility. I called the DEP and they said they'd come out and take a look. They said they came out and took a look. They found no problem. Again, no testing was done. They then called me back when I complained again, and they called me back and we had a discussion. They asked me what was going on, and I explained it. Very similar to what we had talked about here, with all the issues adding up to there being a problem. They explained to me that that they frequently dip their hands into septic water and that it's safe. And I just found that unbelievable that they would say that, and asked them if they would like to come take a swim in my septic system, and they denied that invitation. They also told me it was unbelievable that they couldn't believe that moist air could travel 1,000 feet to my home, moisture through the air 1,000 feet or more to my home. And I asked them if they ever heard of clouds, and they did, and then they maybe agreed a little bit that maybe it was possible if they heard that what a cloud is. So at that point, the man I spoke to at the DEP, he decided that maybe he ought to talk to his supervisor before continuing the conversation with me, and I have not heard back from them since. I'm sorry, I did hear back from them. I did hear back. I got a call from the supervisor, and they let me know that they were no longer using the aerator fountains in the pond, and he made it sound like it was for a long time. And I persisted and asked him, well, when was this? How long ago? And he said about a week ago. So I guess they stopped doing that because I had called. But what I have found out by looking at the pond about midnight every night, the fountains do come on. They just have them on low, or they flipped it upside down or something, so it's actually blowing down, but they're still aerating. Moisture still rises into the air. It's just crazy, and nothing's gonna. There's so many people sick in this development that I can't believe somebody else can't put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4 and figure out that there's a problem here. And I do believe that it is related to the school. Again, I'm working on more solid proof that it is. Get some more testing out here, or to find out what's in my blood, get my DNA run, and maybe match it up with somebody else's DNA. And maybe somebody that's sick. One man had also passed away in the development. He worked outside quite frequently and laid on the ground. I mean, the soil here, I believe, is polluted. The trees are polluted. The grass is polluted. Anything that is made out of protein that the bacteria can latch onto, it's just in the air. It's everywhere here. Anything you touch, I'm so sensitive to it now. Anything that I touch, I usually have gloves on 24 hours a day. I just took them off. However, anything that you touch, it just seems like it attacks your skin. So I hope whoever moves into 206 Renwood Way in the future, because I'm being evicted due to a foreclosure, because I have not been able to work or function as a normal human being and produce income to pay my bills. I've been so sick. That I'm moving out, and I'm glad I'm moving out. Hopefully I can move somewhere where the air is cleaner and maybe beat the sickness, whatever I have. After I leave here, I'll probably immediately go seek out and search some doctors that might be able to help me. I've tried getting better, tried seeing doctors here, taking all kinds of medications, natural medications, ivermectin, all kinds of things I've been taking here and not getting better. So I have to leave the area, I believe, in order to get well. I hope that somebody else who ever sees this video can reach out and help. There's a lot of people here that just don't have a key to what's going on here. They just don't have the knowledge, or haven't been given the knowledge or the education, or haven't invested in looking into it, because they just don't believe that it could be a possible problem because it's handled by the government. So if there's anything, anyway, anybody can help, please contact me through this video. Thank you. Have a great day.